Happy birthday to me. Time to shit on my daddy. Because why the fuck did he fucking abandon me? Good morning, it's Tamia. Happy birthday! Ah! I'm 23. Holy shit. Don't ask me what's happening to my hair. This is just the result of a silk press gone wrong. It's a whole story, let's just say. I already thought, ooh, should I get a silk press from a bitch at this makeup store who is a white woman? Let's just say I'm gonna do a deep conditioning mask sometime tonight or later on this morning. But anyway, I just wanna, like, what happens every year on my birthday, or at least back before I estranged my family 2 years ago, is I would make my mom tell me the story of my birth because it was just so fucking funny. And actually, sure, I'll share it with you now. Fuck it. So, I was born between two lunatics. I'm sure you could have easily already guessed that, considering I always talk about mommy and daddy issues. Holy shit. But my parents used to be childhood best friends, like actual best friends. Oh, okay, childhood is I'll put it this way. He graduated from high school and she was like turning 15 that summer that she met him. And before you say it, hey, was your mom groomed? According to her, she does not think that she was groomed because they just simply were platonic friends. No, and I'm going to add this for context, I'm pretty sure my dad is autistic, if not both of my parents. My mom is just the type of autism where she's like overstimulated at every fucking thing and has like rejection sensitivity, I bet. And then my dad is the quiet autism, where it's just like he doesn't know what to say and is fucking awful at verbal cues. No offense. And I'm only like, and I know it's like, why are you guessing that your parents are autistic? Because I got it from somebody! And no offense, it makes more sense for it to be my dad, but from some of the shit my mom's told that I'm processing more these days, it's like, oh, that explains a lot of things. I inherited plenty of mental illnesses. They gave me double autism if they both are autistic. Anyway, along with the story, no, they were platonic friends. At most, it would be like, they would just hang out and talk. Like, nothing else happened. Like, she was the super popular girl who just loved to chatter and chatter and chitter and talk and talk and talk, and he was just happy to have her at, like, his apartment with his mom and his family, just sitting on the couch watching TV and just let her talk and talk and talk, and nothing sexual ever happened. Basically, she was just, like, always talking like this, and he'd just be like, yep, he let my mom vent about, like, her shitty home life. They both bonded because they had fucked up home lives, and they were just really good platonic friends. Like, nothing happened. But, as what usually happens with a girl bestie scenario, something eventually happened. This is the part that I don't know. I do not know what age they actually did decide to start dating, but it was definitely sometime after, let's see. So when my mom got pregnant with that one fucking 30-year-old disgusting drunk alcoholic bastard. So sometime after like my first two siblings were born, that's when my dad decided to shoot his shot with my mom and be like, hey, I like you, you're cute, let's go for it. And then they did. And they were like one of those really cute, beautiful couples. Like hella beautiful. But my biological father was very, very possessive and very, very jealous. And let me say this, my mom was his first bad bitch. He already had women he liked in the past who cheated on him. Like, he's had multiple experiences of, like, you could go to your girlfriend's house, you eat her out, next thing you know, another man's condom slips out. And then, no offense, that has irreversible effects on someone's brain, along with the other time where he was dating this woman. He was like, hey, you're not cheating on me, are you? No. You're not fucking that guy from work? No. He knew she was. He just came to her place one day, saw his car parked in her driveway, went upstairs, and then his ex opened the door, and there she was, naked in a robe with the nigga in the background. So, for understandable reasons, my dad was traumatized as shit, and this was like the early 2000s, so obviously, therapy was not a thing for men, or at least believed to be. Like, especially for black men, they were like, they just tuck that shit down and ruin other people's lives because of it. So my mom would be the social type, she'd be out in public with them holding hands, being cute, and then she'd recognize one of her many, 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 many friends from high school, but if it was a male, best believe my dad would start some shit, and my mom would be like, oh, hey, Steven, how you doing, hey? And almost go in for a hug, and then my dad would be like, whoop, get your ass over here, and yank her arm hella hard and be like, keep walking. And my mom didn't like that shit. So eventually she was like, okay, you being hella fucking weird, nigga, we got to break up, because I'm tired of you. He did not handle that well. There's a whole lot of different stories that I've heard. I supposedly heard that it led, oh yeah. How do I put this? They were really good friends that should have never dated. That's how my mom describes it, and how she always deep down resents him for like dating her, and also how shit hit the fan, and like, you know, what would have been an amazing lifelong friendship probably and a great connection got ruined all because of male entitlement and possessiveness and disgusting behavior. And he was doing weird shit. Like my my biological father, that bitch ass nigga, he would literally my mom would be going out on a date, you know, leave the kids at home with like a sitter or like grandma or something, or a friend, and she'd go out on a date, and she'd tell her dates, yeah, just letting you know, like, my ex is crazy. And they'd be like, oh, he can't be that bad. They get back to her house, and then imagine you just see like this 6 foot something tall black man, wide as fuck in the shoulders, pops up like, what the fuck are you doing with her, nigga? Just springing out of the bushes on some whack-a-mole shit. And so he promptly scared off almost every man that wanted to be with my mom, who was very attractive. Like, you know, very, very attractive. She was very, you know, Lauren London looking ass motherfucker. And he scared so many men off from trying to fight them just for simply taking my mom out. And then she'd be like, God damn it! And then basically, I don't recall they kept dating. He just kept doing more and 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 more psycho shit. Like, he would just basically show up to her house unprovoked, trying to break in because he would wanted to see her and talk to her, and then she'd be like, I'm not fucking talking to you, get away, we have a restraining order processing. And then he'd break a fucking window despite knowing that my older siblings were inside, like, as fucking toddlers. Not cool. And it didn't help that my grandma on my dad's side, aka my dad's mom, was also like a total enabler. Like, to this day, like, she recognizes that her son did bad shit, but she always talks about it in such a, oh, you know, he loves very hard, he just feels things very intensely sort of way. Like, we all make mistakes. Girl, you need to check your son into a mental hospital, or just check him in general. She did not check him enough. That is why I do not have a good relationship with my father. Anyway, continuing on. Eventually, my mom was going to move to fucking Texas. She was going to leave California behind, like all her stank-ass family members who she deep down hated, because she always talked about how she hated my fucking... you know, my grandmother and my grandmother's sisters, and, like, she hated, like, my dad's side of the family and my dad, and just, overall, she wanted to get away from the bullshit and start an entirely new life. Thank fucking God she didn't. Oh, otherwise I'd be in a red state right now. Oh, with blue eye contacts amongst racists. Oh, I'd be a Republican. No, instead I'm insane and very leftist, but happy with rights and fucked up hair. Oh, that feels good. I'm around gay people in the beach, baby, because of what my dad did, and I'm about to tell you. So this is something that was, like, should not have happened, and even but I'm happy it happened, sort of. My mom decided to meet up with my biological father one last time before she was going to move to Texas forever, never to be seen again. And on that fateful last encounter, it wasn't toxic, it was pleasant, it felt like a glimpse of what they had before, a really strong friendship, and at some point a really beautiful romance. And one thing led to another. And I don't even need to say it, do I? I don't need to say what happened. They was fucking. They were fucking. I know. What a strange way to describe my family, but, you know, I'm estranged. I can talk about them however strange ways I'd like. So, you know, that was their last final night. She moved to Texas, and then 2 weeks in of being there with her new place and just finally getting everything unpacked, she suddenly felt sick, and she threw up. And then she was like, oh shit, fuck no. And you can guess what happened. She was pregnant with me! And it was like, oh, and she was like, do I want to get an abortion? And just like with all of her other kids, she was like, no, I did adult things. I have to do the next adult thing right after sex is to take responsibility of my child. Plus, she wanted to see if my biological dad would at least take the opportunity to be a good dad, which I respect. Let's just say she moved back, and then one of the first things he did was go, that's not my fucking child. You probably fucked someone else. My brother in Christ. You were the last person she had sex with, number one. Actually, no, I was about to list up everything wrong with that interaction, but there's just so much that I lost track, and my mind just turned into a blank slate from the audacity. And then, from what I recall, a whole lot of paternity, a whole lot of bullshit, yada yada yada, and then on to the story of my birth. Now, once they actually proved, like, that my dad was, like, my biological father or whatever, like, I think that's when he started sticking around more. Fun fact, my mom actually prayed that, because she knew how toxic my dad had been the entire, like, court processings of trying to get, just prove that I'm my fucking father's kid. Oh, she was praying to herself. She was like, please, God, give me anything but a boy, because if it's a boy, he's gonna be hella involved, and I don't want that, because she realized how he's like, and how he would be like if he was super involved, and didn't basically want, like, a male copy of her toxic ex to exist in the world to torment other people. I have good news and bad news. One, good news. She did not get a boy, but she also did not get a girl. Hey, she manifested a non-binary kid, say hell yeah, and she got my dad to stay away. Yikes. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that my dad was out of my life? Would I have came out better or worse? Who fucking knows, really? That's like asking if Hitler went to art school and, like, do you think he would still be an awful... He probably would still be an awful person. He would just know how to paint, I don't think that would have... I don't know. We would have still had a bad outcome either way. Sorry if that was a weird, inappropriate joke to make. So, what happened next? Eventually... Oh, I was gonna say, the bad news is I did kind of become like my dad, because I have been threatened with restraining orders many times, but ironically, in that exact same way, the people who have threatened restraining orders against me have also had sex with me again. Like, repeatedly. In fact, the current dude I'm talking to wants to marry me, and that's funny, because 6 months ago, he wanted me out of his life permanently. Wait, 8 months ago, yeah. Funny how life works. Thank God for Plan B. Oh, so we don't have to repeat history too much. Ironic that my new dude is comic book loving, possessive, potentially autistic dude. Oh God, I think Freud would like a word for this. Sigmund Freud. Alright, to wrap this story up, my mom was getting ready to give birth to me, like, she felt her water break or whatever, she went into the hospital. And this is the funny part. My grandmother showed up, like, my grandmother, aka my dad's mom, came up with her hoochie daughter. That's the way my mom describes her. I'm not trying to insult my aunt, but she came up just like with thigh-high stiletto boots on, booty shorts, tank top with the bra sticking out. I remember my mom was when she told me this story, she was like, why the fuck is her 16-year-old daughter dressed like the stripper? And two, why is she in the hospital like that? She couldn't put anything else on. But I mean, you gotta respect her for at least showing up to the hospital. But funny enough, my grandmother and aunts just showed up basically just to shit on my mom as she was giving birth to me on some weird shit. And my grandmother on that side of the family is a Muslim. So imagine some, like, supposedly hyper-religious woman just repeatedly being like, this should have never happened. This all could have been avoided. You could have done what you needed to do. This didn't need to happen. Basically repeatedly advocating for abortion, trying to make my mom feel bad for not getting an abortion over me, as my mom is in extreme excruciating pain for like fucking hours trying to give birth and push my big ass head out. And my aunt was just like, why are we here? This is boring. This is taking forever. What kind of fucking nerve do these people have? It's just... How do I put this? Sometimes my mom tells me things and it's like, okay, I understand why her temperament is the way she is, because look at all these people she's around. Anyone would be insane under this circumstances. I wish she got therapy. That would have saved so much of this from her. But eventually, I forget how many hours it was of that shit. I believe I was actually a 17-hour birth, or was I 8 hours? I have the story mixed up. Funny enough, I make her tell me every year, but since it's been 2 years without it, I forgot. But I took fucking forever to come out. But after some point of just nonstop hearing my grandmother alluding, oh, she should have been aborted, this should have never happened. See how much it hurts? See how much this could have been avoided? Then she was like, all right, everyone except for, my dad, get the fuck out of the room. Now! And then she started screaming and getting loud, but everyone got the fuck out of the room. And my mom was so pissed that eventually, like, she didn't want to take any drugs with me because she didn't want to risk fucking me up. Funny enough, that happened anyway. But she was like, oh, fuck, this hurts too much. We need this baby to come out. Just give me the epidural. They gave her the epidural. It took maybe like 7 minutes before I just slid out. Easy as fuck. And to this day, my mom is mad about it. Because one, she still has immense back pain. Still after like 20-something years from that goddamned epidural. But she also regrets not taking it sooner because it would have saved her half of a fucking day. And then I slid out, and then everyone got to hold me and was happy, and it was like, yay, the baby, woo! And then this is the part my grandmother has loved to tell me for years. She loved to always allude to me, and this is before I even knew about, like, her advocating for me to die. Like, my grandmother supposedly got a chance to hold me in the hallways like my mom was vesting up, and she would just not holding me. She would not stop holding me and telling me, "Oh, why are you here? You are not supposed to be here." Well, since you're here, I guess all we can do is make the most of it. Welcome. And she would just not stop chanting that to baby. Sort of a really fucked up thing, but I'm amused by it. I think it's kind of cute. Oh, but then again, for years, my grandmother would love to reference that, even in times she wasn't supposed to. And I remember one big occasion that really set me off from, like, wanting to see my grandmother anymore was when I was a teenager, and at some point she joked about, like, my mom and dad getting together and was like, sometimes love makes people do bad things, and some bad things should not happen, like, at all. And then sometimes an even bigger, worse thing happens that should have been avoided and terminated, but it happened anyway, so you gotta make the most of it. And she didn't know that by then my mom already told me the story of her advocating for my abortion. So, kind of not a good thing, bragging and joking about how your granddaughter should have been aborted to your granddaughter. And then after that, she noticed I stopped texting her, and she eventually apologized because she knew damn well she was wrong for that. But at the same time, was she really wrong? Because I'll put it this way, sometimes bad things do happen. I have very mixed opinions over if I should have been created or not, but let's just say I've got to experience good as well as bad. Would have been a lot better if not so much bad happened, but then again, yeah, I can't control the fact that I was born. I can just make the most of it, just like my grandma said. And I can't change the fact that my parents were together. And what they did or did not do for me, all I can do is, like, how I'm gonna live my life and be happy from now on. And finally, yeah, my dad was a bitch ass nigga. I know that's a weird note to end the story on, but I had to. And yeah, I am the child product of a stalker and someone with rage issues, and interesting things happen. So peace out. Love you. Bye. That's the story of my conception. Wear condoms, use Plan Bs, and maybe get abortions. Peace out.